I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, April the 20th, 2015. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin has granted a 2-week extension to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in order to form a new government. While the Prime Minister said major progress had been made in coalition talks so far, there were still issues that needed to be finalized, and no coalition agreements had been signed within the allotted 28-day period since the results of the Israeli elections. Netanyahu will now have until May the 6th to build a coalition. An Israeli Arab man was stabbed by a Russian Jewish man in Herzliya today. Police believe the attack was a nationalistically motivated hate crime. The 28-year-old victim, who works for the Herzliya municipality, told police that the man yelled "Death to Arabs" before stabbing him in the shoulder. He was treated at the scene by Magen David Adom paramedics and taken to Meir Medical Center in Kfar Saba for further treatment. The 36-year-old Herzliya man suspected in the attack was arrested by police, who said they were still investigating the incident. The Women of the Wall, the group who fights for equal rights for women to pray freely at the Western Wall, read from a full-size Torah for the first time today at the holy site in Jerusalem. The Torah was smuggled into the women's section, passed across the barrier from supporters of theirs in the men's section, held at prayer services today for the new month of Iyar. One of the men was detained by police. The bringing in of Torah scrolls into the women's area is prohibited, and Rabbi of the Western Wall Shmuel Rabinovich condemned the group's action today, claiming that the Torah scroll was, quote, transferred in degradation as if it were a random object. He called the move provocative, saying it was intended to ignite the Western Wall and the anger of worshippers there. The Women of the Wall saw today's events as an historic achievement, stating that for the first time, they were able to stand up and be counted as equal members of the public entitled to read from the Torah. The man known as the accountant of Auschwitz is set to go on trial tomorrow. Former SS guard Oskar Groening, who is now 93, will face a state court in the northern city of Lüneburg, Germany, on 300,000 counts of accessory to murder. Groening has admitted to serving as an SS non-commissioned officer at the camp, but denies committing any crimes, as they did in the 2011 trial of former Ohio auto mechanic John Demjanjuk, who was a guard at the Sobibor death camp. German prosecutors argue that anyone who was a death camp guard can be charged as an accessory to murders committed there, even without evidence of their involvement in a specific death. Modern Orthodoxy visionary Rabbi Dr. Aaron Lichtenstein died today at the age of 81. He was the longtime head of religious Zionist yeshiva Har Etzion in Alon Shvut in the West Bank, and an Israel Prize winner last year for his contributions to rabbinic scholarship. Knesset Speaker Yuli Edelstein called Lichtenstein a first-class role model of uncompromising integration of commitment to tradition and the halachic world with moderateness and modernity. Lichtenstein was also the son-in-law of renowned Rabbi Joseph B. Soloveitchik. He is survived by his wife and 6 children. And longtime chief rabbi of Rome, Elio Toaf, died yesterday. Rabbi Toaf helped lead the recovery of Rome's Jewish community after the Holocaust and helped foster ties with Roman Catholics. He is best known for inviting then Pope John Paul II to pray together in Rome's Great Synagogue in 1986. Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi said of the rabbi's death, "We have lost a giant." Toaf died in Rome yesterday, 11 days before his 100th birthday. Beachgoers in Tel Aviv today got a sneak peek at the aerial demonstration that will fill the skies over Israel on the country's 67th Independence Day later this week. Israel's Air Force held a practice run today for the annual air show, which will take place on Thursday to mark Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel Independence Day, which begins Wednesday evening after the observance of Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Memorial Day to its fallen, which begins tomorrow night, Tuesday. And JBS will have special programming in honor of both Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut. Looking at our programming for tonight, Monday, April the 20th, at 7:30, a talk given by Dr. Mordechai Kedar on the true nature of the Middle East. Then Turkish journalist and activist Rubia Kazan on her campaign Not My Allah, urging moderate Muslims to speak out against the hijacking of their religion by extremist terrorist groups. At 8:40, author and journalist Yossi Klein Halevi talks about the founders of Israel and mistakes he thinks they made, the challenge of making peace with the Palestinians, and failures of the Obama administration regarding Iran. That's with JBS's Eli Kohanim. At 9, the story of Yossi Ran, orphaned when his parents were killed in the Arab massacre of Kfar Etzion in 1948. And at 10, an overview of the creation and history of Israel and barriers to peace. That's with Dr. Stephen Burke of Union College. And right after this newscast tonight, senior fellow at the Harvard Kennedy School and a former deputy national security advisor for the State of Israel, Chuck Frelich, explains why the framework of understanding is the best deal possible to keep Iran from a nuclear weapon for 10 to 15 years. That's tonight on JBS and jbstv.org. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, April the 20th, 2015. I'm Teisha Bader.